Yo, what's going on, guys? We're at my front door. I just got done training one of my clients, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to talk about a certain subject, and it's stop wasting time. Okay, stop wasting time. I would say last year I had a great time, but I wasted a lot of time not doing the things I needed to do. I read so many books last year. I kept reading The Alchemist. I kept reading books about money. I kept reading books about psychology. I even hired a psychologist. I read the book Art of Seduction. I was reading more about seducing women. And I just kept reading, and still my business was lacking. My business was not where I wanted it to be. And my YouTube, my content wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I'm like trying to read this book called Contagious, What Things Go Viral. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm looking for answers. So anytime I read a book, I'm like, yo, I'm looking for answers. And so what I tell people is like, oh, what book do you recommend? Or what answers are you looking for? But here's the thing. You can look for the answers you want. You can read all the books you want. But if you're not applying any of the knowledge, then you're not going to get anywhere. And I always said that. I'm like, oh, make sure what you read, you apply. Leon, venga. I'm outside right now. So make sure whatever you read, you apply, right? Like, knowledge is useless unless you apply it. And so there's a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read Non-Negotiable by Wes Watson. I have my Jesus Calling book. And one of the things, I just got done training a client on FaceTime. Shout out Robert, you're crushing it, bro. And he's like, yo, what books do you recommend? And I'm like, first and foremost, I recommend the Jesus Calling book, because God is number one, okay? God is number one. And so that's the one I recommend over anyone. Leon, venga pa acá. Venga. And so the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and there's a really good book called The One Thing. Those are 2 books that I really do recommend. The One Thing and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But here's what I told him. I'm like, brother, so he went from, he wasn't working out, he wasn't eating right, and he wasn't waking up early, right? And so I'm like, yo, this book, The One Thing, is really good. I'm like, what answers do you want? He's like, oh, you know, what answers do you want to the questions that you have? And he's like, oh, let me just think about a couple questions. And then I'm like, well, listen, let's put it this way, man. I showed him the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he's like, oh, I want to get that book. I'm like, listen, brother, let me explain to you something, okay? Let me save you some time, and I'll save you guys some time. I'm like, you weren't waking up early, you weren't working out, and you weren't eating right, okay? Now that I'm training you, now you're waking up earlier, now you're training, and now you're eating specific macros. You just changed 3 habits. You went from sleeping in, not working out, not tracking your food or eating certain foods, to the complete opposite. So you just changed 3 habits. Now let's take the book, The One Thing. And The One Thing, the biggest quote is, what is the one thing I can do such by doing this, everything else is easier or unnecessary? Okay? So let's think about that. What is the one thing I can do such by doing this, everything else is unnecessary or easy? Vice versa. Easy, unnecessary. Okay? And then me and him looked at each other, and he's like, my health. I'm like, exactly. What you're doing right now is the one thing. He has a very successful business. And now it's like, what can he do? What is the one thing he can do that by doing such, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? And I'm like, your health. You take care of this, everything else just gets better. Your relationships, your business, this is the one thing that you've been lacking. And so to save you time, the one thing is, that's what it's all about. And so for me, I looked at my life, and it was like, focus on content, focus on reaching out to people and trying to acquire customers. That was it. Just try to help more people. What's the one thing I can do today that's going to get me to where I need to go? Or just go and talk to people, reach out to people, gain more people, change more people's lives. That's it. And so, habits. If you really want to move forward quick in life, just look at what you're doing every day and realize, what are the time-wasting habits that I have? Well, can you give us an example, Alex? Perfect. Going out with friends that don't have the same goals as you, drinking, smoking that grass, marijuana, time and place for everything. But if you're not happy with where you're at, which most people are not, these are certain things you got to cut out. Sleeping in, not working out, not getting your meals in. Listen. If you're not working out, you're literally not making your life better. You're missing out on a huge piece of life that will only fucking make your life better. If you got yourself in incredible shape, not even incredible shape, if you just started working out 5 days a week, you started working out and earning a positive mental attitude after working out, your life would change. I knocked out 200 burpees this morning. I'm still going to go get another workout. I knocked out 200 burpees this morning because it makes me feel better. So one of the best habits you can ever apply to your life is just working out. Now, if you're working out, great. But you're not following a diet, you're missing out on really great results. Because you're going to the gym and you're putting all this work in, but you're not getting the results you want. So you're wasting time. Because you're accepting the fact that you're not getting the results you want. Leon, venga pa acá. Leon, venga pa acá. My dog. And so, waking up early, getting your meals in, working out are 3 habits that are only going to improve the quality of your life. Don't neglect them. Stop wasting time. When you go out on a Friday night, Saturday night, you spend money on alcohol. I used to do this. You're spending money on alcohol. You're getting drunk, hoping to get laid. You're wasting time. Sacrifice. Say no. Stop wasting time. You think you have forever. You really don't know how long you have. I used to be like, oh, you got 20, 30, 40, you got 40 more years, 50 more years. But I'm like, when I was 18, I had a crotch rock, I had a motorcycle. There's times where I would have lost my life in a matter of seconds. I'm like, damn, my life could have been taken away so quick. There's so many people that aren't here, that were here yesterday, that aren't here today. And I always say that. I always think to myself, I'm like, man, people were here yesterday and they're not here today. Every single day, every single day, every single day. So every day that you wake up early, you're showing the world gratitude. You're showing God gratitude, like, thank you so much. I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. But I got up and I'm like, meh. But I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you, God, that I'm alive. Thank you, God, that I'm alive. Once you start implementing these habits, you're going to stop wasting time. Okay? There's nothing worse than, wasting money is one thing, but wasting time is another thing. Okay? You can't get time back. And so really, I want you to take a step back and analyze, who am I hanging out with? What's going on? Where am I wasting my time? You know, Rob Dyrdek, look up Rob Dyrdek. He has a whole system on time management where every second, every minute of his day is managed by this system, which I think it's crazy. But he's like, I look at my time like money. Like, I'm not getting it back. So if I can see where I'm wasting most of my time, money, then I can really rearrange it. So he has like 2 or 3 assistants who look at his whole schedule, look at the system, which I think is crazy. But when you look in a perspective of like, this is a currency that you do not get back. Once you run out, you run out. And you don't want to be sitting there just thinking, damn, how do I get my life better? You want to know how your life gets better? Number 1, wake up earlier. Your life will always get better by you waking up earlier and taking advantage of the day. Number 2, praying. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care. What has changed my life, I will tell you what's changed my life. God has changed my life. Praying has changed my life. Every day, religiously, just praying. Not church. I don't go to church. But every day I get closer to God, closer and closer and closer. Number 3, your workouts. Your workouts, your burpees, your training, your meals. Quit wasting time. Get serious about the gym. If you really want to tie in and lock in your diet, hit me up. Send me a message. Hit me a message on my Instagram. Click the link below. Book a call with me. If you want to get serious about your diet, if you want to finally get shredded, book a call with me. Be like, hey, Alex, let's figure out let's figure out what my macros are. What am I doing? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the quicker you get a 6-pack, the quicker you get shredded, the higher quality you're gonna have of life. Because you're not gonna be going around in circles, going to the gym, not getting results, going to the gym, not getting results, falling on and off, on and off. You're gonna finally be held accountable. You're finally gonna be able to have the body that you've been consistently working for. And it's your diet. And that small little habit will change everything. Your self-esteem goes up, your confidence goes up, your consistency goes up. People around you start noticing, damn, you're fucking shredded. Yeah, started cracking down on my diet. I stopped wasting time. Stop wasting time.